Hi guys. Unfortunately, it is raining outside. So, yeah, it's thunderstorming and everything out there. So, I figure I'd probably do this indoors instead. This is like the back area of my apartment. Probably, I think I had mentioned that I wanted to do some crafting and use this table because there's nothing but storage back here, but I have this table here that could be very useful to me to wake up early in the morning without making a lot of noise or bothering everybody inside. So, like I said, unfortunately, I couldn't be out today because I ended up taking the kids to the park, and I said, well, I'll have enough time. It's, at 5 o'clock, I'll go in the back. But then I started watching something, and I got distracted. And then when I thought about coming out, I was like, oh, well, let me hurry up and do this. Got my tea ready. It's right here. And I said, let me hurry up. And by the time I got outside, it was drizzling. I said, although the table does have an umbrella, but it won't cover my camera, especially where I have it sitting. It won't cover it, and I'm not about to get it wet. So, hello again. My name is Emma, and welcome to my channel. I was off on reading my story, and I want to go back to where I left off. I think I was talking about Tess and Alan and Gabe and Cynthia. So they were supposed to go and find out, to go back and to tell Cynthia what Tess saw at the school, in the gym or hall or gym hall, whatever you want to call it. So that's where I'm going to start. Okay. I'm just going to start the sheet all over again. I'm on page 13, okay? Tess turned to Gabe and said, Can you believe this? Let's go. We have to go back. We have to go back and tell Cynthia. But we just got here. Let's go. Gabe handed his drinks to the next couple he saw and rushed to keep up with Tess. It was 20 minutes past the hour. Cynthia knew then that Alan wasn't going to show. By the time Gabe and Tess pulled up, Cynthia was sitting in front, swinging herself on the porch swing in some fitted jeans and yellow blouse. When the car came to a halt, Tess charged up to where Cynthia was sitting. You changed. Why? Go get dressed. You can ride with us. We'll all have a good time. He was there with someone else, wasn't he? Look, don't do this to yourself. Come with us. Cynthia, now with a slight tear in her eye, said, maybe it just wasn't meant to be. Tess pleaded one more time. Cynthia, you don't have to show up with anyone. We'll be in a group. No one will know the difference. Want me show up without a date? I wouldn't dare. Cynthia got up to give Tess a hug and a small kiss on her right cheek. Thanks a lot for caring, you guys. And have fun. I'll be all right. Trying hard to be convincing. I hate to leave you like this. It's okay. Go. Tess turned and finally ran down the stairs. Once she reached the car, Tess turned, yelling, I'll let you know everything that happened, and then waved goodbye. As Cynthia waved back, her mother came out of the screen door surprised. Cynthia, where's your dress? Why aren't you going with your friends? What happened? Did you change? You look so beautiful. Oh, Mother, stop. Cynthia stormed into the house and threw herself on the brown sofa that they had for years. Her mother walked in behind her and sat by her side. Cynthia, would it help if I said that I know how you feel? I do, you know. Cynthia couldn't help but hold a pillow tight and feel her tears roll down her face. It was my 16th birthday. I was all dressed up and looking impatiently out the window, just like you. And my date never came neither. I did the same thing you're doing right now, feeling sorry for myself with the biggest frown on my face. But I didn't have anyone to tell me that there would be other birthdays or other dates. And you want to know what? Now holding her daughter in her arms. There was. But this was my prom night, Mother. I was looking forward to this so much. I know, dear. I'll tell you what. Why don't we forget about him and tonight and have a party of our own? We can rent a movie, order some carryouts, and eat till we drop. Cynthia sat up, wiping tears off her eyes, and gave a nod of agreement. Although my mother's gesture of ordering out that night was feeling the pain of being let down still remained. Mother always found special ways to comfort me. How I wish she was still here. All and more feelings were rushing through Cynthia's body. Enough of worrying. The past is the past. I should just forget and leave it alone. Nothing could change what happened, ever. Tossing the photo back inside, she slapped her hands on top of her thighs and said out loud, "What a mess. I better put this all back. But before I do, I can sure use a nice hot cup of coffee." Her face glowed with enthusiasm from the thought alone. Cynthia pushed off papers and photos away and began dusting herself off with both hands that apparently flew upon her. A shower isn't a bad idea neither. Suddenly she felt something strange by her right foot. She turned straight away to look down, and that something was the kitten she decided to keep. "Hey, how did you find your way up here?" She picked up the kitten and held it up in front of her. "Come on, let's go down and see what we can find for you to eat." Cynthia stretched up, feeling aches and pains from being on her knees for so long. She walked down the narrow stairs and across towards the bedroom where her son was resting. Taking a small peek inside, she could see that he was still sound asleep. As she continued along with the kitten down to the kitchen, she switched the light on. The room gave an immediate brightness when she extended the refrigerator door open. She was mystified at the few perishables left in the fridge and noticed that it was practically empty. Some of its contents held an old jar of coffee and jam, and definitely no milk. "I don't want to go to the market now." Her eyes roamed around the room, searching for a clock to tell her what time it was. That's when she had remembered that some of the furnishings were packed and stored. The kitchen clock had to have been one of those items. All you can see was the shadow of where the clock once was hanging. "Well, it can't be that late. I might as well get it over with. If I'm staying here a while, I'm going to need some groceries, starting out with milk, cat litter for you. Let's go and wake up Anthony." Staring down at her son in such a deep sleep, she felt cruel at the idea of having to wake him. She figured he could always continue his nap when they get back. "Anthony, wake up. Come on, honey. We have to go out. Don't you want to go to the store with Mommy?" She took him a bit to arouse his conscience. When he finally awoke, she took a hold of him and went down to the living room to put their jackets on. With the rain slowing down, the weather had turned a bit chilly. "Put this on. I don't need you to come down with a cold, okay?" Fitting his arms into small sleeves that after zippering jackets, she thought of the umbrella. "I better take along just in case. Keys, where are those keys?" Looking around, she spotted them in the glass dish on the coffee table in front of her. "All right, let's go." She took Anthony's little hand and led him out the door towards the driveway where her 1994 Pathfinder wagon was parked. After pulling the door shut, she held the open umbrella low enough so the light drizzle wouldn't catch Anthony. As the keys opened the side door, it slid Anthony aboard the back seat, making sure his seatbelt was on and secured, and the door locked. Running in front of the wagon to the other side, she sat and strapped herself into. Putting the key in the ignition, she turned the motor on, letting the car warm up, then drove to the nearest market. With the windshield wipers going to and fro, she saw the open pantry just a few blocks ahead. One she always went to years ago was still standing, still in business. We better hurry before the rain begins to fall harder. Out of the wagon, they both ran towards the bright lighted store. Once inside, she sat her son in front of one of their conventionally made carts, manufactured for parents who have children like Anthony's age. Boy, you're getting heavy, you know that? She bent down and gave him a kiss on his little nose. Anthony squinted, smiling at the tingling feeling. All right, let's see. We need cat stuff. Cat stuff? Anthony repeated. What aisle would that be? Everything was different. I guess we're just going to have to find it on the way. She had passed 2 rows before she arrived to the one she wanted. Okay, here we go. Dog food, pointing out her index finger while calling out. Cat food, she exclaimed. She began reading the brand names. Then she thought, the kitten is too small. I don't think he eats that much yet, and took just a few cans off the shelf. And the litter, she remembered, taking a 5-pound sack and dropping it into the cart. Now for milk. We better get something for ourselves while we're here. Still dazed, Anthony just nodded his head, not really caring one way or the other. Reaching the dairy aisle, part of the way down near cheese and yogurt section was a tall, dark stranger. Making sure not to disturb anyone, Cynthia quickly snatched a gallon of milk and carton eggs and placed it in the cart, then swung around to hunt for the coffee. The stranger took a package of cheese and started to follow her. She rolled herself into the aisle where the coffee blends were stocked, feeling a little uneasy. From the corner of her eye, she could notice that the stranger was still in the same aisle, not far away from her. This must be my imagination. This person can't be. Standing still, she decided to move a ways up and purposely yield to a halt. At the same time, so did the stranger. Not wanting to put Anthony in any kind of danger, she continued, and again the stranger insisted to proceed behind her. That's it. Cynthia turned swiftly and asked with high annoyance, "What is your problem? Why are you?" Her sentence dropped, shocked at the face that she saw in front of her. Alan, she stood there still, motionless, without any expression. Cynthia, I knew it was you. I saw you 2 aisles down, but I wasn't sure. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't scare you. Just out of my wits, that's all. Cynthia, still trying to maintain balance, thought to herself, I guess I was still in shock. I couldn't move. He looked different. Older, wearing a purple knit shirt that shaped his muscular biceps, brown trousers with a brown leather belt. Brown trousers with a brown leather gold buckled belt. That was a tongue twister. You were able to see the strength that Alan had developed. His voice sounded gentle and sweet. It was awful. I had to remind myself that I hated him. Alan, by now in doubt, asked, "It is you, Cynthia?" Yes, it's me, she answered, finally snapping out of her trance. How are you?" were the only words that came out from her mouth. Fine, I heard you were in town. I knew I'd bump into you sooner or later, but not this soon, and not in here. Alan sounded thrilled. I ran low on coffee and had a half a gallon of sour milk in my icebox. Cynthia looked at him with astonishment of the coincidence that just seemed to occur. Hey, who is this little guy? Greeting the child playfully. This is my son Anthony. A silent pause filled the air. I'm sorry to hear about your mother, Ellen added immediately, offering a late condolence. Is that where you're staying right now, at home? For the meantime, until I figure out what to do with the property. Ah, I see. I can offer you a lift back. I can wait. No, I have my wagon out in the parking lot. She pushed her hair behind her, feeling a bit uneasy of her appearance. Well, you look good. I mean, nice. I better go. It was great seeing you, and you, addressing his words to the little boy. Maybe we can get together soon and talk about old times if you feel up to it, Alan said. Talk about old times with you? Words went flying through her head. She hadn't known what came over her. She felt like Jell-O in front of him. Sure, when I find some free time. I just have so much on my mind right now. I understand. Here, he handed her a card with his name and number on it. I always carry these with me. You never know who you'll bump into. Give me a call. He turned and walked straight to the cashier to pay for his goods. Cynthia picked out a few more items, then went to the cashier herself while she was standing waiting for groceries to be calculated. And she could see Alan approaching his night blue sunroof car. 2919, shouted the attendant to distract her from staring at the window. Oh, I'm sorry, and handed her 3 tens. As she stood waiting for her change, she could hear the car drive off. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad to go with him. He could fill me in on all that went on, and of all the people. Why is he still around? Which now became a mystery to her. She sat in her wagon ready to leave and looked at the card once more. The card read Attorney Ellen Wilkins. Her eyes sprang out. He's a lawyer? The possibility of him becoming anything was minimal. She slipped the card into the right side pocket of her jacket. Let's go home, Mommy. He has lots to do tomorrow. Let's go home. Mommy has lots to do tomorrow. After putting Anthony back to his room, exhausted from the whole day, she went to her bedroom and dropped herself on the bed. Lying still, she could hear her heart thumping. She inhaled in and out, trying to catch her breath, then fell to sleep. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I think this takes off in a different direction. There should be like pens here. Yeah, I'm going to have to bring a pen with me or a pencil next time. I'm going to try. You know what? Sometimes all I see is chalk, and that's no good. But anyway, I'll try to mark it down later. Yeah, so that's where I'm at, and just checking the time. And I will continue more tomorrow, and I'm already on page 22, and I think I went up to page 33, so we still have a ways to go. And plus I have to figure out, this is evidently going to be a short tiny little novel, tiny, because I'm not going to expand it that much, because I don't think I want to spend reading a whole novel to you. So excuse me, it's going to be a short one. But almost finished with American Pop. As a matter of fact, I think I only have like a few more pages to go and I'm done. And then I'm going to start, I think I'm going to start with the book that had the dress. The jacket had a girl's like gown hanging or something, and it was called In Style. I think I'm going to go with that one, because if I remember, I think it mentioned something about Prada, which almost kind of gave me the feel of that, oh my God, what was that movie called with, what are their names? Oh, Jesus, I can see their faces, I just can't, remember. Meryl Streep and, what was the other girl with the black hair? I can't remember her name, but she came out in a lot of movies. But But I definitely, The Devil Wears Prada. So it reminded me of that movie when I started reading some of the, the paragraphs. So probably going to start on that one next, and we'll see how that one goes. As far as the American Pop, not really ever finding out still, unless they mention it at the end, what the secret ingredient was why the pop Panacola became so famous. It's like, it's still a secret. I don't know if I'll ever find out what it was. But hopefully something will flicker. Some spark of, give me something to let me know that I didn't waste my time reading this book. And that's one thing I don't like. I like to know that if I'm going to read a book, that I'm going to get something out of it. That was good. That was a good read. And I might even want to read it again. And there was this one book. Oh man, this was years ago. And that book, man, it was filled with so many intriguing volumes of what this poor girl went through. And this was like in the Western days, I think. And because I remember them talking about taverns and what are they called? Saloons. And she was also a seamstress, and how her house or something with her mom got on fire, and she was left homeless, and she ended up with somebody who was like lived in a saloon, and there was a lot of like her hiding behind the wall and listening in, and whoo, boy, that book was hot. I mean, really seductive and I even tried to look for that book because I was like, I want to read that book again. That stirred me up. And that was the only book like that I have ever read. And I never got those feelings like that from Harlequin. Okay, like never. You always knew what was going to happen. But okay, that's it for me now. And I will let you know what happens if I ever find out what that ingredient is, and like a fish in the sea. So glad you caught me, and I will catch you in my next video. I'll see you later, guys. I'm going to try to finish this tea if I can. Yeah, it should be